Regular monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the South Lafourche Levee District, and I've got the order. Rolling with your leaders in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Aaron, please call the roll.
Ron Collins.
Here.
Mitch Danoff.
Here.
Roland Curall.
Here.
Roland Guidry.
Here.
Brian Martz.
Here.
McNeely Rome.
Here.
Keith Guidry.
Here.
Monty Vegas.
Here.
And Brett DeRoche.
Here.
Mr. President, welcome.
Hey, you've been presented with a copy of the minutes of the regular meeting of March the 8th. Any additions or deletions to those minutes as presented? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve as adopted as presented. Moved by Max, seconded by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, you're supposed to have been presented with a copy of the 2.1 tiered annual report from the state. If you haven't, contact Mary, she'll guide, or Amy, will guide. The ALBL workshop is scheduled for May the 6th and the 7th. However, this year is restricted because of COVID to just executive committee members, which means Wendell and I. The rest of you can go on Zoom if you want to, but live presentation will only be 2 per district. Executive committee, Keith.
Mr. President, the executive committee met in early March, I think on the 9th, and it was just to discuss project funding and get some priorities in order. And our top priority we discussed was funding for the roads that just Claire Lot. Second on the list also was we discussed about completing the elevation on South Levee and talked about the delays we were still having in that vicinity with the shooting range, and we're going to continue to try to address that matter. And that was the extent of our committee meeting.
Okay. Anybody here at the for purpose of addressing the board? Not seeing anything, we'll move on to the general manager's report. Wendell?
All right, well, we're going to start with the slides, and we had the rainfall that hit, started on Monday afternoon late. We figured that the whole area, within a little bit more than 24 hours, we had received 8 inches throughout the whole area, and some places probably got up to 12 inches. Just to remind everybody, the okay, so we had, again, a little over 24 hours, 12 inches of rain. We're rated, our pumps can pump 5 inches in a 24-hour period. So basically, we had double capacity within that 24-hour period. And we pumped, and early in the ball game, we had the pumps operating, everything we had. There were 2 pumps out of the 29, 27 operated. We had 1 pump that we have the power takeoff, which had to be fabricated, so that one didn't run. And we had 1 other one in repairs. But the work we've been doing over the last 5 years, I'd hate to have seen if we had gotten this rainfall maybe 4 years ago. We were in the middle of doing the major repair on the pump. So at a time when we didn't have a lot of money, we went ahead and spent the money to get the pumps in shape, and it really paid off for this event. Again, there was so much rain that after 24 hours, there's some people that had as much as a foot of water in their yard, and they still know the difference. You get a phone call, when are y'all going to pump? Well, we're pumping, but there was so much water, it would drain to those areas from other areas as the water started to go down. Now, by the second day, we got the water back in the canals. Also, this is the first time that I've ever seen the water get out of our water canal. Actually fill up the water canal and go over the bank. Now here's that pump station number 2, it's fully camped. And you see that this is really the edge of the water canal. And it's on the levee side, completely over top. And here's on the protect the landslide with people and over the bank. Again, the first time that this has happened, it got, I think it was a -2.9 was the highest that it got. And, you know, and it was terrible. It was a lot of water. The one thing to remember, though, the water on the outside of the levee, normal tide is +1. You know, people say, well, the levee's holding back the water, holding the water in. If we didn't have a levee, that water level would be 3 feet higher, you know. So, it was something that we just had to get out and just pumping. We've been managing the lilies, so that was not a problem. We did go without a lot of trouble in getting that work done. This is not just with, not only did the rainfall hit, but the tides got extremely high, just as Delta Farms Road again, getting over the top out of the coastal canal, which has been happening pretty frequently. Once that water gets to +2, it comes over the road, got to close the valve, and these people can't drain, and it stayed that way for a few days. And finally, when it did get below 2, we were able to open the valve and drain this area out. That's the same place. And it does cause a problem for us to get fuel to the pump station. We had enough fuel, it wasn't a problem this time, but we're gonna have to develop a road inside the levee system to be able to get fuel there if this would happen for a long period of time. We have fueled up the pump stations. The pump stations can hold about 4 days. If we're running 24 hours, we can do 4 days of pumping. And I think we're gonna have a full 2.5 days of pumping. We also, because of high water, we had to close the Rose floodgate and the lock. Well, we closed the Rose floodgate, I think it was Tuesday morning. And so these boats couldn't get through starting on Tuesday morning. The bayou was high. We kept trying to lower the bayou, along with lowering the water with the drainage system. And so Thursday afternoon, we finally had gotten control of the bayou to start letting the boats go through. Well, 2 boats start leaving to get out. As this is taking place, this tug sinks. So we stopped the traffic going through, so only 2 out of the, I think we had about 8 boats ready to go through, made it out. This sinks, we called the Coast Guard, and they shut down the bayou until this boat gets taken out. The boat didn't get taken out till Sunday. So we had some boats stuck at the Royal Floodgate, just by Floodgate, from Tuesday all the way to Sunday. And then they were finally able to get out. But again, some of the things that we have to do to try to get things done. These are the pilings that were given to us by Terrebonne Levee and North Lafourche. They were used for the emergency work, the closure last year. And all we had to do was pay for the transportation. That represents about a couple $100,000. So a little bit of the sharing from our neighbors, we try to help them out, and they helped out in a big way. And we got Reggie here. Reggie, there he is. Take a bow. Appreciate you negotiating that for us. And we can use it. There's a couple of projects, and we pick which one will fit the best. But we could possibly use it on protecting the wall, the Rose flood wall, or use it in setting up the lock. So we'll keep on discussing it and use it, but it's going to pay off the most. We're storing it in La Rose along the coastal where the burial shipyard used to be. And we have it there ready to go when we need to use it. So that's a definite benefit, a big plus for us. Now the work on Sea South, this is based on pump station. And we're still progressing, getting work done in that area. The levee's around a 15-foot elevation. We're bringing it to an 18-foot. There's a black mark right here. And this is progressing. The dirt, which was on the edge here, was brought here. Now they're transferring it from here to the edge of the levee and then placing it on top of the levee. And this has been working out great, and we should have all this in place by the time we get to the heart of hurricane season. Again, that's all the work being done. On the outside, ConocoPhillips again with Ducks Unlimited, partnering with the parish and CPRE. I've gotten these terraces out there, And they're a tremendous benefit in knocking down the everyday wave action. They've just placed them in, and it's been a big help on the west side where we have most of our marsh losses taking place. They finally got the grass planted. It takes about a season to get the grass growing around the terraces, and then about another season to grow in between. But these have proved to be a large asset protecting the total levee for everyday wave action. And then here as we go to the mitigation for section K, what do y'all call it, Beach K, in Morganza. And this eventually is going to turn to marsh, but it's been pretty dry lately, and but it should get the growth going pretty soon in that whole area, and a pretty good marsh area. But it's a great protection for the Coronel levee. Now this is jumping down to Golden Meadow, the Golden Meadow flood wall at the Golden Meadow pump station. And you can see the height that used to be at 13, we're raising it to 17. You can see the new area is great, and of course they're painting it. Again, this is the lowest area in our system on the west side, this far south. And so that's a big improvement that we have, feel a lot better about it. The one thing about it that we didn't go early was that although it was low, it was built with A-frame sheet pile set up. You had that splash pad on the backside. If that was overtopping, there was a good chance we weren't going to lose it. So once the flood would go lower, you wouldn't have any water coming in. But we're glad that never occurred, and now we've got the level of protection that gives us some confidence that things will get done well. This is the contractor working behind, this is Oak Ridge Park over here. There was an island between Oak Ridge Park and a levee. The canal separated it, and we were able to get the contractor to punch string partners to take that dirt and place it on the levee side, and we'll eventually use that to raise the levee. Here's the dirt on the levee side to raise the levee between that corner and pump station number 1, and we're working with the contractor to try to place a little bit more material further up toward the backside of the park and place it where we can use it. And again, there's the park on the backside. We have the north, B North and area, but this is the marsh platform that we built in 2010, and that has worked out tremendously well. And then just north of there, again, ConocoPhillips, Ducks Unlimited, have placed another marsh platform. And again, this is tremendous benefit to the total levee. And this is our 1.5 growing seasons have grown real well. And then just north of there, we have terraces again that were placed by ConocoPhillips. And growing out nicely, and again, tremendous protection. And Roland, you mentioned that open area just south of Bason. They're starting to work in that area, put some terraces there too. So I can't say enough about the good work of ConocoPhillips, Ducks Unlimited, the parish, and CPR has done. Also, the work on the floodgate, they came back, they were placed, and good job, good condition, and we're back to normal in operating the lock. During that high water, the lock worked so well, we let very little water get in, so we continued operations even with high water in by Lafourche with the lock operation. This is the partial project that we have on C South, that's near the LLD farm, the Schwest farm. You can see that we've raised the levee close to the 17-foot elevation. It's not quite complete yet, but we will get that done. This is the Bora Canal that we were able to expand. Again, ConocoPhillips donated the right of way to get that done. Here's some, again, going back to the outside area where again we have some more terraces. This is the Crawfish Pond flood wall. This is, again, the Schwest farm. Contractor has been awarded the contract and should be getting on site. This is a 14-foot elevation, and this will go to 18 feet. And then the second phase is closing this middle area over here. But again, that's the lowest area we have on the east side, and we're going to be dealing with that in the next month or so. Here's the loop road, and we're about to get project started in this area and be able to raise it another 4 feet so we won't have to put ESCO baskets in this area. East-south, this is almost completed, and this was raising the levee to about a 14-foot elevation, had dropped 11 feet, and this is going to ensure we continue to have the good insurance rates that we have right now. And this is the last part that needed to be done in that area. And this is the work on E-North, which is Globally Farms. This is the right-of-way, the canal been expanding, and we've done the work. We got a lot of material up. This is all the way to the Superior Dock. This is looking back to where the excavation's taking place. The crown's in good shape. We have to complete bringing this up here, but it's progressing extremely well. And here's the area we're expanding to the north. We started bringing some material in. And this is the ramp that goes to the Superior Dock. We have this area up, and this side won't be quite as high. We try to have our ramps at least a couple of feet higher than the normal elevation for that. And this is section F. We have a trucked in job over here. And we're raising it about another 2.5 feet to get to at least a 13-foot elevation, bring this about 14. We've seen some water on the protected side come up. And it's not flowing, it's standing water, but it shows a connection from groundwater to the surface. So we'll probably put a patch on this, a couple of 2 to 3 feet of dirt over here to reseal it again. We don't like this happening. We don't think it's a big problem, but we want to make sure it doesn't turn into a problem. About 3 different sites where we had this water just kind of come up on the inside berm. And if we can get this to go, it's a little video on the Grand Bayou closure. Okay. painted slide of the project. The good news, Laura keeps telling me, is that by the heart of hurricane season, although it may not be completed, it will be in a position to put into place and stop water from getting inside the system. So that's important. Read a report saying that they are expecting a busy season, as busy as last year, which is not good news. But if we can handle it as well as we did last year, it's okay.
Sure, you.
Okay, no questions about the slides. We'll start with the 80s Pioneer Water Retention Project. Just to be safe, I'd like the board to pass a resolution allowing us to sign all of the necessary right-of-way agreements and pipeline agreements for the water retention in the east. I need a motion to do that. We have 3 agreements ready to go, and there's a number of others in the process.
Okay, good recommendation on general manager to approve the relocation and pipeline crossing agreements. No wishes, gentlemen, move on, Monty, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no.
All right, in section F in the rules, we have the Williams letter agreement. Again, there's a pipeline crossing, it's been reviewed by attorney and engineers, and they asked that we go ahead and give permission to sign that agreement.
Heard the recommendation by general manager that we go ahead, authorize the signing of the Williams pipeline agreement. They all wishes, moved by Keith, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
We talked about the rainfall event, the rules, they're just a floodgate, sunken boat situation, getting granted by your floodgate. The villages are coming up for renewal. Last year, they had a reassessment, and we received about $600,000 less with the millage that we have. We decided to leave it that way because business is going through it that well. We could, by law, by order of the board, bring the millages to a higher level to get the same type of income. Last year, the board decided that because the businesses are having problems, that we wouldn't do it. Same situation this year. We could raise it, but, you know, again, if we do like last year, we could, you know, we get $600,000 less a year, but that's something we can deal with it. We dealt with it last year, and if you know, whatever the pleasure of the board is. And we don't need to make a decision this meeting. I just want to alert you all.
And we can show faith to taxpayers. I mean, things are hard for us, they're hard for them too. So we can actually do without, I'd really like to see that.
Right, so I just wanted to make you all aware, next meeting is when we'll have to take the votes. I want you to make you all aware of the situation.
Okay.
Okay, levee safety program. Before starting this levee safety program, and rather than just looking at how flood protection systems work, they've gotten involved in what they call residual risk or floodplain management. And that you look at what your system's supposed to provide, and that if water gets over, have houses built to a certain elevation. That's always been the issue dealing with the local, not levee districts, but the parish government or governmental, other government entities. And I would like the board to give us the opportunity to comment on that, saying that we don't believe that we should have our levies rated on the levies, and floodplain management work is something different, and allow us to get involved in the conversation in not agreeing to getting involved in this levee safety procedures that are going forward. So there's no objections. We will go ahead and start commenting, saying that we think levees should be looked at by themselves and not tied into floodplain management or levee safety issues that are being dealt. Okay. Okay, and we had gotten quotes to do grass cutting services. GIS came in with the low quote, and we put together a letter agreement, and I'd like to authorize the signing of the letter agreement.
Explain what's involved.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Was that?
We didn't see it.
I don't see anything. What are they
No,
cutting?
I don't know if we put it in there.
Did they put it in?
So we were waiting for Ray to back, we got back with him this morning.
Okay, well, we had it reviewed, basically, we got a quote saying that per hour that they work, that we paid them a certain hour, okay, for work. If they don't work, they'll get paid.
This would replace our employees?
No, this is, well, we fell behind last year, we never did catch up on cutting the grass. So I wanted to experiment with seeing, instead of buying another tractor and making that investment, let's experiment with having a contractor work with our crew so that we could, stay ahead of the grass and then see if it worked out, we might do it more in the
Is it
future.
a standby agreement in case it's necessary?
Well, this agreement, we are using them, actually, we're using them right now, but just to have we've agreed that we're just gonna pay them when they work, and I want to put it in writing.
So it's just people or equipment too?
No, no, we are hiring for them to cut the grass, which
A
means
service,
equipment,
grass
fuel,
cutting
everything, it's a
service.
service. We pay a certain amount of money per hour, they're responsible for everything. They get a breakdown, we don't pay them, we're not cutting.
And where are they cutting? Around here
No,
or the
this is
levees?
No,
Just
This is
levees?
the main thing, levees.
Taking a
Okay,
bush hog.
Let me explain better. I never
There you
explained well. We have not been able to keep up with the grass cutting, okay? So, we had talked about this a couple of meetings ago. We will go ahead and get, we went out and got a low quote. We had two quotes, we got the lower quote. It fit what we had figured the cost, that it's costing us to cut the grass, and it's a lower cost, so that looked good. So we said, let's experiment and see how this works. So we started them cutting right now. But I just wanted to put it into writing so there's no gray area, so it's black and white on exactly how.
So you're gonna write the agreement right through our attorney?
It's been done, it's written, the attorney went through it, he likes it, everything's good.
And
And,
ask for this to okay it.
and so we need for you to okay us to sign that
I'd
agreement.
like to see the agreement before I okay it, so we don't have a copy.
Okay.
Does it have to be done at this meeting?
Well, no, but I mean, we're cutting the grass right now, you know, we can do it another time.
Yeah, I'd like to see the agreement before we read it. I have no problem with it, but I'd just like to see it.
All right.
Well, with my John Henry. Okay?
After he gets them.
And let's see. And that's all I have.
Has there been a change in the open meetings law? I saw
Oh,
we've got a-
no, we had some discussion about what, you know, what can happen with open meetings. And I was thinking about, I've been here too long, because the old rules were that you couldn't even accidentally get a form together. So, you do have a copy of that. The open meetings law.
It's in our
She
package.
had sent it to
It's in the
us.
package?
It's in the packet.
I just added that.
And what it says that, because we had that discussion, if there was a social function and we had a majority of board members there,
Correct.
they changed the law to say, if no business is occurring, that's not a
illegal.
violation. Because we had a little discussion about that, I just wanted to kind of get it clear.
Years ago, when I was first with another public body, when the open meetings law first came in, there was a joke going around that you'd carry a bag of spaghetti in your pocket in case you happen to have more, remember quorum of your board then, and you start boiling spaghetti. And it's a meal, it's not a meal. So it's not like that anymore. This clarifies.
Oh, yeah, well, again, in the old days, if you just happened by chance to be at a wedding. and
You go to a wedding, you
there,
go to
that was
families.
a violation of open meetings. And so this cleared it up, saying unless you in there intend to do business, it's legal.
Okay, any questions of Wendell? Move on with our engineering report. Coastal protection and restoration. Daniel had been here for a while, so we kind of got used to hearing him, but.
I've been here over
Good to
cyber.
see you, yeah,
Yeah,
we see you on Zoom, but
Yeah,
it's
it
good to
was,
see you.
it was hit or miss with that. You had to double unmute and all kind of nice things. Yeah, it's good to be back. I only have one, I guess, announcement. The Corps of Engineers has rescheduled the annual inspection of the South Lafourche levee system to Wednesday, April 28th, so about 2.5 weeks. It was rescheduled from last month. Actually, I believe it was scheduled on the rain event, so it was probably a good reschedule. It was, it had, I think, been scheduled 23rd, 24th on March.
You should inspect the levee.
Yeah, no, I knew you were gonna say that too. I was like, actually, that'd be the best time to get, but, yeah, it's true. It'd be a little sloppy, but yeah, I guess window, Drake, I guess you guys are going in. We're gonna have to be there too, so. That's it.
Okay, any questions of Daniel? Thank you, Dan. Foreman's here, no one's here. Project engineers, Fisher and Associates, Joe.
Yes, on section E South, shaping and grading, phase 2, low-end construction of the contractor, they complete with this project. We did receive the clear lien certificate. And so we've contracted submitted pay application number 15, which is the retainers to close out the job in the amount of $27,887.50. And we do recommend you pay that invoice.
Okay, the request, engineers requesting you pay low land, the request number 15, in the amount of $27,887.50, which is the retainer. And then we have the lien fee certificate, everything ready.
Everything's ready.
Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Mitch, seconded by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And on E North, Grand Shipyard's a contractor. He's currently digging in the third cell of the pit right now, which is the last cell. He's got about 40,000 cubic yards left to dig on the project, which is going to take him probably about 2 months with the weather and everything. They're hauling right now to the northeast side of Levee Farms, or actually northeast of the Superior Dock right now, going towards the boat launch. Make the corner go towards the boat launch and exhaust all material. That project's going well, weather permitting. So he submitted the application number 11 in the amount of $139,782.62, and we do recommend it.
That is to
Grand House Shipyard.
Grand House. Okay, recommendation by engineers to pay request number 11 to Grand House Shipyard for $139,782.62. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Max, second by Roland C. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
On D South, Levee, Barlow Canal digging, and also the grading and shaping. Both projects are complete and in the lien period. We will have a change order at the next month's meeting, and the lien period should be up by then too, so you can pay him. Basically, the retain is the change order is going to be to reduce the contract quantity to reflect exactly what he does, and it's also going to reflect the agreement that the levee district made with him to finalize the project. And he's also going to get some more contract days to bring his contract time up. So we're going to have all that stuff ready for next week. And on section F, levee improvements, onshore materials, the contractor, he's been hauling every day that it's dry, even on Sunday. He's making decent progress. We do have those 2 areas that are seeping. We've got a window. We're gonna work on a solution for that, and probably come back with you a change order to add that material in to fix those 2 seepage spots. The other part's going really well. We do have the application number 2. In the amount of $205,237.77, and we do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you heard a recommendation of engineers to pay onshore materials. Pay request number 2 in the amount of $205,237.77. No wishes. Moved by Keith, second by Brent. Tim signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
On the Go-to-Meta Pump Station elevation project, C-level construction is the contractor. They're currently on site painting right now. They kind of had some slow go of it depending on the weather. But all they have left to do is to finish out the painting and then do the tie-ins on both ends. We expect that to happen before the end of next month, so we'll be finished before hurricane season. Contractor submitted pay application number 6 in the amount of $80,443.90. We do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you heard a recommendation of engineers to pay C-level pay request number 6 in the amount of $80,443.90. Moved by Roland G, seconded by Monty. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And maintenance of the South Floodgate Circle LLC is the contractor. They are complete with the project. The gates are in and operational. We have a couple of things on the agenda for you for this project. They've submitted pay application number 4 in the amount of $130,343.80. We do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay Circle LLC, pay request number 4 in the amount of $130,343.40. Gentlemen, your wishes. Moved by Brett, seconded by Brian. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And we also have the certificate of substantial completion and change order number 2. Now, change order number 2 is just to add additional time. We're giving them 14 extra days of contract time. The biggest kicker in this time was the freeze. When the freeze hit, couldn't paint, couldn't do anything, and that's what really held up us getting the gates in place when we thought we were within the contract time. So
No monetary due.
no extra money. So we need the certificate of substantial completion and the change order number 2.
Approve those at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to approve the substantial completion and change order on that project. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Brian, second by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Deviating from the agenda, Wendell just brought me the letter agreement between South Lafourche Federal District and the Grand Isle Shipyard, GIS, which has been approved by our attorneys. I'll just read it, and we're going to approve it until then, so we can keep moving on this project. Effective April the 1st, 2021, the South Lafourche Levee District hereby agrees to contract the services of Grand Isle Shipyard, hereby known as contractor, to provide a 100 horsepower tractor, 1 operator, and a 15-inch bush hog to cut and maintain grass on levees of the Lafourche to Gold Medal Hurricane Protection System. Charges for the tractor operated 15-inch cutter will be paid monthly rate of no more than $68.50 per hour for each hour worked. GIS shall log actual hours worked each day and provide a copy of South Lafourche Levee District each week. Delays due to rainfall, equipment malfunction, or any other issues that arise which prevent the operator from cutting the levee grass will not be charged to South Lafourche Levee District. GIS is not employed by the South Lafourche Levee District and thereby shall provide $1 million in workers' compensation insurance. In addition, GIS shall provide a certificate of insurance for general liability named the South Lafourche Levee District as the additional insurer. If at any time one party desires to dissolve this agreement, they may do so by giving the other party, I guess it's 20 days notice. This agreement shall remain in force through December 31st, 2021. Your wishes, gentlemen, are amenable to accepting this as presented?
Yes.
We'll need a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Oh, you have a question?
No.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Peter done.
I didn't mean to interrupt. So the next one is GIS, Laura.
She got a long one.
Sorry.
Fix the water.
Everybody's settling. All right, the first project update is the AE Spivey Water Retention. Still waiting on the Corps to issue the permit. As far as plans and specs, those are complete. Wendell had an item on the agenda for you earlier, just approving for servitude and the pipeline companies. So we're still working on those two, and once those items are in place, then we'll be ready to go and advertise for bids. Next project, D South Crawfish Farm flood wall. We do have this in phase 1 and 2. So currently phase 1, at a previous meeting, we awarded that contract to Sea Level Construction. We had a pre-construction conference and issued them a partial notice to proceed so that they could start ordering materials. We did that March 15th and gave them 60 days. So we plan to issue a full notice to proceed on or before May 15th. As for phase 2, CPRA is still reviewing the final design plans and specs for that. The first item on your agenda under D South is change order number 1. Sea Level likes to use Henry with GIS and his survey crew, so kind of to avoid appearance of conflict of interest. What we've done, and we've done this on previous contracts, is we deduct the amount from his construction contract and then amend it into our engineering contract. So under number 2, A, change order number 1, that's a decrease to C-Level's contract for $8,100, which brings their contract to $1,640,722. And I recommend approval of change order number 1.
Okay, you recommend the approval, engineers recommend the approval of change order number 1 to C-Level, an amount of deduction of $8,100 to keep the decrease in the contracted service. Max, seconded by Monty. Any discussion? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
All right, so 2B, Wendell and I visited about this, and based on the scope of this project, we do recommend a full-time inspector while construction activities are taking place. So we're figuring like, 40 hours plus or minus a week, but amendment number 5 is an increase to our engineering contract in the amount of $15,000, and again, that's for full-time inspection for phase 1.
Okay, you've heard a recommendation of engineers to increase the amount to GIS, amendment number 5, in the amount of $15,000. Bill wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Monty, seconded by Roland C. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
All right, and part C is amendment number 6, and that is an increase in the engineering contract of the $8,100 that you just reduced out of the construction contract for the survey.
Okay, recommended amendment number 6, pay order number 6, to amend the contract to GIS of $8,100, which was deducted from the previous contract. Okay, gentlemen, your wishes. Moved by Matt, by Roland, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
All right, Golden Meadow Boat Launch Ramp. This work is complete. That was lowland construction. They were substantially complete back at the end of December. We also asked them to place additional fill around the pump station. So the items that you have on the agenda for today are really to get this one closed out. So item number, I guess, A, change order number 1, that's in the amount of $16,535.15. That's for the additional fill, and the change order also includes 45 additional days to the contract, which were due to Delta and Zeta weather days. So we recommend approval of change order number 1.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to add $16,535.50 to Lowland's contract, which represents additional fill and 45 days added to the original contract. Your wish is moved by Max, second by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Next item is pay request number 3, and that was actually to complete this work. So we do recommend payment to Lowland in the amount of $12,644.10.
You said about complete, what are you talking about there? What does it include?
That was the fill, replacing the fill around the pump station, right? This is their payout for actually doing that work.
You know, I'm confused now.
We're getting ready to close this one out. So,
Okay.
yes, the change order increased. They've already done that work. And so the payout number 3 is to pay them for having done that work. Yeah, the change order just changed their contract amount.
What I'm confused is you got a change order of $16,000 and you only paid.
Because we held
$12,000.
retainage.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Explaining that. Okay, you've heard a recommendation for Lowland, pay request number 3 in the amount of $12,644.10. Your wish, gentlemen. Moved by Keith, second by Roland G. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
We received the certificate of clear lien, so part C is to pay request number 4, and that is to pay them the retainage, all retainage on the contract.
Okay, for your recommendations, we pay Lowland pay request number 4 in the amount of $11,651.14, which is the retainage, which also includes the $4,000 from the previous deal.
Yes.
Okay, your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Next project is D North Ramp. We had the pre-bid conference last week on April 6th. I believe we had 4 contractors that participated in the pre-bid, and we are currently scheduled to open bids on April 22nd. Last one, drain body flood control structure. First update on the flood wall and receiving structure. You saw the video earlier. A majority of the work that they've been doing, installing the 30-inch batter piles on the east side and the connection plates between the plumb and the batter piles for the flood wall. They've done some miscellaneous, the timber guide wall and the dolphins. They just set the seal tube on the east side jacket, and currently they are working on the 24-inch landing piles. So the first one, let's see, first thing up is change order number 8 in the amount of $18,730. This is for, will be is contributed to Hurricane Zeta, and that is to reestablish the bank line on the east side of the canal. So while we had the emergency structure in place, we opened up a bypass lane for them on the east side, closed it up for Zeta, and then we opened it again. Now we reestablished the bank line. So we recommend change order number 8, set in the amount of $18,730.
That's to who now?
That is to sea level.
To sea level. Okay. Engineers have recommended we pay sea level change number 8 in the amount of $18,730 due to conditions created by hurricanes. Moved by Monty, second by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
All right, change order number 9, on the receiving structure and flood wall. Coming up in a minute, we had to add a hatch on the barge gate, so to keep it a 0 change order for construction on both contracts. We've balanced out some overruns that we're gonna, or underruns that we're gonna have later. And so change order number 9 is a deduct to the receiving structure contract in the amount of $8,850.08.
Okay, you have a recommendation of engineers that we deduct $8,850.08 by change order number 9 to sea level contract. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Brian's good, right? Second by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. You didn't see Jay Rock, I'd have known you right away.
Next item is pay request 14 on the receiving structure and flood wall, and that is in the amount of $1,299,482.19. Majority of this cost is to install the steel tube and then those 30-inch batter piles. So we do recommend payment for number 14.
Okay, everybody recommend pay request number 14, the amount of $1,299,482.19 according to this contract. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Mitch, seconded by Monty. No discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And pay request number 15, again, this goes toward Hurricane Zeta. This is to sea level install 610 limestone on the access. This is to keep us in good graces with the landowners, as well as, the bypass. reestablishing the bypass. So pay request number 15 includes those two items. We do recommend payment in the amount of $57,261.30.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineers to pay request number 15, the amount of $57,261.30. Your wish, gentlemen, moved by Keith, second by Roland C. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
All right, a status update on the barge gate. You did see the video, however, in the last 2.5 weeks, that has changed tremendously. They have been working on painting. They've installed the control house, you can see that in the video, as well as they've been putting the ballast piping in, they're setting pump. They received the winches, they had those tested at Southern Crane, and they received those last week as well. And so, we do have, let me start in order. Change order number 1, this is for the additional hatch that I mentioned earlier, in the amount of $8,850. We do recommend approval of change order number 1.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer. Pay change order number 1, the amount of $8,850. Hatch relocation. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. Any discussion? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
The last item, for the gate, is pay request number 6, I promise, is pay request number 6 in the amount of $477,300.59, and the majority of that has been paid.
That's a big promise you have to get it out.
You said painting?
You heard the recommendation of engineers to pay a request number 6 in the amount of $477,300.59. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, seconded by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
We broke.
All right, and I want to be sure, I know I said this at every meeting, but that is a flow through, which will be reimbursed for all that we're paying over at this point, right?
Yes.
I want to be sure. I don't trust you, I want to make sure everybody understands.
You brought a policeman with him, stop it.
I do want to mention, these are large amounts of money, as you notice.
Yes.
We did get locked up a little bit with that cash flow and a lot of our money out with the cooperation of everybody involved, Reggie, James, contractor, the engineers, that the fourth was doing, and I got to compliment both Amy and Mary for doing a great job of keeping track of all this stuff. And it's working out, and we're now, it's a lot less money that we're out of right now, but this is going to continue for a few more months, and then it'll get a little bit easier for everybody. But everybody kind of went up to it, and when it looked like it was going to be a little bit of an issue, they took care of it. It's working out real well right now. Thanks to everybody cooperating.
Anybody have any questions of Laura? Thank you, Laura.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
before you move on very quickly, just to add on what Wendell said, a few of the items that y'all discussed had to do with responding to Hurricanes Zeta and Delta. You know, there's a couple of change orders and pay requests that relate to, in the same vein of what Wendell's talking about. The Solid Food Levee District are going to request reimbursement for all these hurricane response costs that we incurred on Grand Bayou, which the total of that is 2 to 3 million, 2.5 something, right, Laura?
Like 2.7.
2.7, and again, some of the numbers y'all just approved are part of that 2.7. I'm just, that's, we're already applying for FEMA reimbursement
So it's
for that
for
cost.
FEMA, not through the state.
That's
Through FEMA,
right.
that money?
So two things happen, as Wendell talked about, in the short term, the partnership works to make sure those bills are paid timely, and it doesn't create too much of a cash flow problem here, right, Wendell and Mary? Longer term is we're requesting money back from the feds, because that's hurricane response stuff. So hopefully in the near future, but no guarantees on that, there will be a reimbursement of that, probably in the tune of 75% of that number will come back to this partnership, for lack of a better term, right? When it'll flow through you
And
guys.
it'll flow through us back to the different people who paid those
Right.
bills.
Where's the other 25%?
No, they eat it. The locals eat it. In other words, they've paid us the money to pay the full bill.
Okay,
FEMA's gonna come back with 75%. We're gonna give that money back to the people, and they'll be 25%
I
short.
didn't realize we paid it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, anything else,
No, that's it, I just want to make sure y'all caught that.
Excellent clarification. Angela, this is Neil.
Yes, on the B North, B South Levee improvement, this one based on the Movement Fork. That contract is Training Partners. As Wendell mentioned, there's a few areas that we're getting into, do a little bit of minor work on. We expect it'll be done in the next few weeks on that. And then work on that project will be complete. On the C South Levee improvement, that contract is Grand Isle Shipyard. Work is continuing well on that project. We are recommending approval of their pay request number 11 in the amount of $15,287.40.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of engineers to pay request number 11 in the amount of $15,287.46. So which moved by Keith, second by Connie. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay, next is the Reach Out project at Morgan's to the Gulf. We did receive back some comments from CPRA that we responded back to. So I think right now they're going through their final review process, and we hope to have back the green light from CPRA in the next week or so. The board had already approved advertising on this, so as soon as we get the green light, we can start. On the Rose Flood Line improvements, this project has been awarded to sea level. The notice to proceed was issued on April 1st of this month. And the contract right now is currently working on shop drawings to begin their fabrication process.
Thank you. Any questions, Neil? Okay, Delta Coast Consultants.
Mr. President, this morning we had a conflict in our schedules. We had an angry landowner who had to meet with in Gibson or come to Galliano so you can see where I am and Mitch is in Gibson right now. It just makes it easy. Oh, yeah, well,
Mitch is a big guy, he can.
he can handle it.
How many policemen?
But I do want to,
That's why you get the police.
I do want to introduce Sergeant Dakota Fitch. I jokingly said, so why you have an armed police officer with you? I said, well, sometimes our negotiations with Wendell gets a little intense. Well, what I did recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, I met with Sheriff Saunier in Terrebonne Parish, and now that we have 13 floodgates and 60 or 70 environmental gates and 70 or 80 miles of levee, very frequently we need to have a law enforcement issue. And when we created our district, we specifically said there will not be a levee police force. Because that's what kind of controversy around the Alden has come into. So what I did, I went to the sheriff Saunier, and I'm paying 30% of Sergeant Fitch's pay-in benefits plus half of the pickup truck. Sheriff Weber did also commission him, so he is commissioned in both parishes, and he will be if we have problems on levees or something comes up, he will be available for it. I just wanted to introduce him to y'all.
We don't have that problem with people like us.
Yeah, I think we had that discussion. I think Marty ran across the body to go out and really.
Now, Mitch's report, you.
No, Mitch says he has done that.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, all south, Stevie.
So I have 3 projects on Reach K to report on. First one is they're all called emergency rehabilitation of Reach K, but one of them is the lower end, the lowest 1.5 miles. This project is what we call phase 1. It was done by lowland, so again, below the south water control structure all the way to Pontchartrain. This project is complete. The work that lowland was hired to do is done. And we have on the agenda today a final pay application in the amount of $65,365.13, which we recommend approval for, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineers to pay lowland their final application or the retainage in the amount of $65,365.13. Move on back, seconded by Keith. Any discussion? Okay, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And what's the height?
The height varies. So the lowest part of that piece was probably at about a 7.5 when lowland finished. The other piece is anywhere up to 10, okay, so it varies. But we're addressing the 7.5 section in the next 2 contracts, right? So that's I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that to the board. Thank you for bringing that up. So the next 2 contracts are also phased, titled Emergency Rehabilitation of Reach K. The next one, which we call phase 2, is where this board hired C-Level to shape all the reach care. If y'all think about the history of reach care, we went there a few years ago and dredged a whole bunch of material out of the bayou and just put it on the bank, and it was very rough and uneven. So we hired C-Level under this phase 2 contract to get on there and just start shaping it and moving dirt up and down to make it look like a levee. I tell you the truth, I just made a video available to Wendell and Mary a short time ago. It's posted on YouTube. I thought we might be able to show a portion of it here, but that didn't work out. I would just encourage you, if we share it with the board, you can look at it. It's about a 20-minute video. It looks like a levee. That whole run, all along the side of the bayou, from the floodgate all the way down to Point Shannon. And that height varies as well. That's the work that's under phase 2 here. It really looks very good. Some areas are clearly at a 10. Some areas might be a little bit 10 and a half or so, right? Probably a little bit more than that, but it's really looking good. Some areas a little bit lower, and that's why we had a third contract here. But under the phase 2 work, the shaping work, again, C-Level's been working on that for several months. They moved just about all the material that we wanted them to move within the levee section. There were some areas where we had a lot of extra material, where we had a big pile of material, so we moved some of that either south or north to kind of balance it all out. They have basically finished moving all the material they need to move. The rest of it they've just shaped in place. They've got about 90% of that done. They're not going to finish this job until we finish hauling some new material under your third contract that I haven't touched on yet. So this job, the C-Level work on this one will kind of linger a little bit as we deliver more dirt under the third contract. Okay. With all that being said, we do have a pay app that's on the board's agenda today, pay app number 6, in the amount of $238,458.67, which we do recommend approval.
Okay, you've read the recommendation of our engineers to pay C-Level. Pay application number 6 in the amount of $238,458.58 and 58.67 cents. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Okay, and the last job for Reach Care, as I would refer to, is a project where we're hauling additional material from offsite onto Reach Care. So when the lowland job was finished, we had an area that was relatively low. As C-Level shapes the rest of Reach Care, there are some areas that are coming out relatively high, but some of them are coming out a little bit low. I'm talking about order of 5 and 6 foot elevation. So this third project is where we hired C-Level again to deliver roughly 50,000 yards, excuse me, not 50,000 yards, 70,000 yards to the project site either by truck or by barge, so we can address those low areas, okay? And you can see that if you look at my report, they delivered about 43,000 yards of the 67,000 yards that are under contract. So probably about 2/3 of it has been delivered. They still got another month or two of delivering material out there, but we're going to keep the shaping contract active so that as they deliver this material, we have somebody out there to shape it. Quite frankly, this work is going pretty good when it's dry, just like every other piece of dirt working, and it slows down a good bit. Like this week, today's might be the last day they work out there, but when it's dry, C-Level really kind of gets after it. Okay. So with that being said, Mr. Chairman, we also have another payout that's recommended for approval in the amount of $434,818.80. And that's payout number 4.
And that's for 55 cubic yards, 55,000.
55,000 cubic yard job.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay C-Level pay application number 4 in the amount of $434,818.80. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Brian, second by Roland. See? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. President, just for clarification, items A and B on the whole south is getting funded through Terminal Levee. Item C is CPRA, with a capital outlay. Now, don't know if y'all did the 12,000 cubic yard changeover.
That's already been done. That's in there.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be in the contract.
Yeah, and only, Mr. Chairman, just to further confuse the board, but that item, which is you pay bills, CPRA pays you back for it, that's another one that we're getting FEMA reimbursement for, just to further confuse you. So there's another $1 million, but we already got FEMA commitment to that. That is, the stuff about the barge, we hadn't got it committed yet, but this job, this hauling this 55,000, 70,000 yards, that is that's 75% FEMA funded, and they're gonna send us the money. That is a guarantee.
Okay, keep that up, we'd be able to pay a dividend this year.
That's right, that's right. But you gotta wait, Reggie's here to pick up his check, that's why he wasn't down.
Okay, gentlemen, any questions for Stevie? We move on to leasing permits and license with Mitch.
Don't have any this month.
Board attorney. Finance committee, Mike.
Okay, the Finance Committee met and reviewed all invoices and recommended they be paid as presented.
Further recommendations about the chairman, Monty, and seconded by Keith. That the approval to fill all invoices as presented. No wishes, gentlemen. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Monty?
Okay, Personnel Committee met, and it's just to update the board, we're gonna be hiring 2 summer employees. Wendell and Drake, y'all get together, review applications, and y'all got, less than time to, y'all need to get the grass started cutting. So just to let the board know that will be happening next week or so. And that completes my report.
Okay, maintenance, Keith.
Mr. President, the maintenance committee met, brought to our attention, the excavator we are actually on a lease purchase with, we're paying $4,821 a month right now for, and it's a real good piece of equipment. They're very satisfied with it. We haven't had any problems. We can pick it up and purchase it for $123,394.36. And our maintenance people recommend us doing that, and we think we'll come out ahead if we purchase it. So I'd like approval from the board to purchase that equipment.
Okay, you've heard a recommendation of Keith that we purchase this equipment. I need a motion to that point, motion by Mack and seconded by Roland. Henry, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, gentlemen, any old business? Any old business? Any new business?
Yeah, I was approached by the mayor going about it to see if we could assist them pick possibly on the water levers. They didn't have any problems on some of the retention canal. You know, I've talked to Wendell about it, or from him, and I guess he can get Drake and Sal.
We added, if we give them 240 to maintain all that stuff.
Right, in the past, we've done it, they asked us for us to help in doing that, and they would provide 240, so we're talking about it to see what we can do to help out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other new business? None, I need a motion, guys. By Roland, second by Roland. Adjourn, all in favor,